بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. خدا رو فصل 2 که در واقع میشه فصل 4، یعنی فصل 2 بخش آخر، specific hadith. In the first chapter we saw that all infallibles have spoken about the doctrine of Al-Mahdi, and it's rare to find a narrator who has not narrated a hadith about Al-Mahdi. There are more than 2,000 hadith about this topic in hadith collections. For example, in Muntakhab al-Athar, relying on 157 Shia and Sunni sources, about 900 hadith are mentioned in about 900 unique hadith are mentioned with the full text بدون تکرار، یعنی without repetition. Here we mention some of the common issues about the doctrine of Al-Mahdi from or in Shia and Sunni source hadith, and then we will talk about some of the topics which are not common. We will later we will talk. We will study in. We will talk. We will study in brief. We will refer in briefly to some of the uncommon topics. First, common topics. There are issues or there are topics about the doctrine of Al-Mahdi that Shia and Sunni agree on. So we will mention them with some references from Sunni and Shia sources. Since these hadiths are in Sunni sources which are accepted by Sunni scholars, we consider the ideas in them as their position. فکر کنم این اصلا لازم نباشه این پاراگراف آخر. حالا باید شما نظر بده. 1. The idea of Al-Mahdi in principle. One of the ideas that Sunni and Shia have consensus about it, apart from a small tiny group like Ahmad Amin Misri. یا بگیم اینجوری بگیم چون خود تعبیر غرب زده و روشن فکر داره، شاید اینجوری بگیم one of the issues that Shia and almost all Sunni Muslims agree upon is that in end of time there would be a person called Mahdi from the progeny of Prophet who would fill the earth with justice, social justice and equity. The main reason for emphasis on this belief is existence of many hadith up to a level of tawatur. Yeah, بگیم many hadith including مثلا those which are mutawatir. یا بگیم که خود یا بگیم که مثلا این موضوع تواتر معنوی داره، چون آخه میدونید تواتر لفظی داریم و تواتر معنوی. پس بگیم که the main reason for such emphasis or such consensus on the idea of the principle of Al-Mahdi, the doctrine of Al-Mahdi, the main reason for such emphasis on the doctrine of Al-Mahdi is existence of many and indeed the existence of many hadiths, and indeed these hadiths have reached the level of tawatur, which would leave no room for any doubt. Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Baqir As-Sadr writes, truly belief in Al-Mahdi as an awaited leader who would change the world into a better world, in the hadith of the Prophet and especially the hadith of the Prophet and his household, so از اول میگم truly belief in Al-Mahdi as the awaited leader who would make the world a better world is mentioned in the hadith of Prophet and his family, his household, or Prophet and Ahlul Bayt. In many hadith, so much emphasis has been put on this idea that leaves no room for doubt. Only Sunni brothers have mentioned about 400 hadith from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam about Imam Mahdi. And 6,000 hadiths are estimated that there are 6,000 hadiths, more than 6,000. حتی اینجا خود عبارتش واضح نیست، میگه تنها از طریق برادران اهل سنت حدود 400 روایت از پیامبر درباره حضرت مهدی احصا و شماره شده و بیش از 6000 روایت برآورد گشته. نمیدونم، یعنی میخواد بگه بیش از 6000 تا روایت از طریق اهل سنت یعنی استیمیت شده، چون میگه اینقدر احصا شده اینقدر هم برآورد شده. So only from Sunni brothers about 400 hadiths from Prophet are listed and more than 6,000 are estimated. But the whole number of hadiths is estimated to exceed 6,000. This is such a huge number that we don't find in many of Islamic issues similar for it. We don't find similar for it in many Islamic issues for which there is no hesitation, or about which there is no hesitation among Muslims. یعنی مسائلی که کاملا مورد شک، مورد یقین و قطعیت هست، انقدر راجبش مطلب ما نداریم. So this is such a مثلا huge number that we don't find for issues, Islamic issues that everyone is certain about or there is no doubt about them, similar to it. Or this is such a huge number that we don't find similar to it for many of Islamic issues or Islamic top positions, Islamic issues which are not which Muslims have no doubt about them. Hafiz ibn Hajar Asqalani says the hadith, the hadith about Mahdi being from this nation are mutawatir. Qadi Shawkani says, you're right, hadith about Imam Mahdi are mutawatir without any doubt. ابن حجر حیتمی، باید حیثمی باشه فکر کنم، قبلا نمی‌دونیم داشتیم، که hadith in which the appearance of al-Mahdi is mentioned are abundant and mutawatir. There are many and mutawatir. Qarmani, Damashqi says scholars have consensus that al-Mahdi is al-Qa'im at the end of time, and the hadith about his appearance confirm each other. مبارک کفوری نمیدونم چجوری خونده میشه، میگه که says be aware that the well-known idea among all Muslims across ages has been that there must be in end of time appearance of a person from Ahlul Bayt, so that in آخر zaman from a person or a member from Ahlul Bayt will appear whose name is Al-Mahdi. 1.2 necessity of belief in Al-Mahdi. The doctrine of Al-Mahdi is one of those things that are introduced to us or are mentioned to us through revelation. The glorious Quran explicitly says that one of the signs of the pious is to believe in the hidden یا in the unseen. حالا اگه بخوایم این همین عبارات اینو بگیم، من می‌خواستم امور غیبی نگم ولی ظاهراً چاره‌ای نداریم. That the issue of Al-Mahdi is one of the instances of to believe in Al-Mahdi, in the idea of Al-Mahdi, is one of the cases of belief in the unseen, Iman bil-Ghayb, which has been communicated to us through revelation. The Quran explicitly, the glorious Quran explicitly emphasizes on the fact that one of the signs of the pious is to believe in the unseen. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب که دیگه ترجمهش میشه نوشت. That is the book. There is no doubt in it. It's a guidance for the pious, those who believe in the unseen. Shaykh al-Saduq, یا بگیم که referring to these two verses, Shaykh al-Saduq says, he argues, faith is not accepted خب بس شیخ صدوق اینجوری مثلا بگیم شیخ صدوق argues faith of any believer is not valid except after his knowledge about the condition of the one that he believes in. سه نقطه. Similarly, the faith of the one who believes in Al-Mahdi Al-Qa'im would not benefit unless they are arif, they are aware of his condition or his situation. شأن اونجا حال بود و میگیم condition، شأن رو میگیم situation. مثلا in the time of occultation, his occultation. بعد این تمام میشه نقل قول. This is why in Sunni and Shia Hadiths, those who deny uprising of Al-Mahdi are considered or are taken as unbelievers. For example, Jabir ibn Abdullah quotes the prophets as saying, whoever denies uprising of Al-Mahdi has disbelieved in what has been sent down to Muhammad. Imam Sadiq alayhi السلام یا بگیم این حدیث امام صادق علیه السلام یا بگیم explaining instances of the unseen in which one has to have faith. از اول بگم in a hadith about the unseen in which one needs to believe, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, the pious are the Shia of Ali, and one instance of the unseen is the Hujjah who is in occultation, i.e. the awaited Mahdi. Among Sunni scholars, Ahmad ibn Muhammad ibn Sadiq says, belief in his uprising is necessary, is obligatory, and belief in his appearance in order to affirm the hadith of the Prophet is decisive. Safarini Hanbali says, belief in the uprising of Mahdi is obligatory as it has been established among the people of knowledge and is compiled in the creeds of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Sheikh Nasiruddin Albani Wahhabi says, truly the belief of uprising of Al-Mahdi is an established belief which has been received from the Prophet in mutawatir hadith. One has to believe in it because it is one of the unseen, and belief in the unseen is one of the characteristics of the pious. 1.3 universality of the call and governance of Al-Mahdi. Call and governance of universal call and governance of Imam Mahdi is inclusive. Universality of the call and governance of Imam Mahdi is agreed upon by both Sunni and Shia, and there are many hadiths and there are many verses and hadith about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَلَقَدْ كَتَبْنَا فِي الزَّبُورِ مِنْ بَعْدِ الذِّكْرِ أَنَّ الْأَرْضَ يَرِثُهَا عِبَادِيَ الصَّالِحُونَ. Also in another place Allah says, He says, اچه بزرگ وعد الله الذين آمنوا منكم وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض. خب این هم میتونی آیات رو دیگه ترجمه شو بیاری از اون ترجمه. In addition to these verses, there are hadiths from Sunni and Shia sources which indicate the same thing. For example, Hakim Nishaburi through Abu Sa'id Khudari narrates, quotes the Prophet as saying, تملأ الأرض جورا وظلما فيخرج رجل من عترتي يملك الأرض 7 أو 9 فيملأ الأرض قسطا وعدلا. The earth will be filled with oppression and injustice. Then a man from my family will uprise. He would rule the earth 7 or 9. And he will fill the earth with social justice and equity. Imam Baqir alayhi salam says, Al-Qa'im Al-Mahdi, Imam میگه Al-Qa'im یعنی میتونیم تو پرانتز Al-Mahdi rules 300 years and 9 in 309 as similar to the time that people of the cave stayed in their cave. He will fill the earth with justice and with equity and social justice as it has been filled, or as it will be filled with injustice, oppression and injustice. Then Allah enables him to conquer the east and the west. یا چون میگه یفتح الله له، فکر کنم یعنی فتح میکنه. سه تا نقطه till nothing remains except the religion of Muhammad صلی الله علیه وسلم. خب 1-4 نزول و عیسی و اقتدار descents of Jesus and following Imam Mahdi in prayer. Islamic hadith agree on the fact that when Imam Mahdi uprises, Jesus would descend from the sky and would follow him during prayer. Abu Hurairah quotes the prophets as saying, كيف أنتم إذا نزل ابن مريم فيكم وإمامكم منكم? How would be you when Son of Mary descends to you and your Imam is with you, or your Imam is from yourself? Your Imam is from yourself. Abu Basir says, I heard Imam Sadiq saying, وَيَنْزِلُ رُوحُ اللَّهِ عِيسَى بْنُ مَرْيَمْ فَيُصَلِّي خَلْفَهُ. The Spirit of God is a buzurg. Jesus, the Son of Mary, will descend and say prayer behind Al-Mahdi. Behind him, یعنی داخل پرانتز Al-Mahdi. 1-5 خسف بیدا. One of the things that one of the things that all Muslims agree upon is about some of the signs of appearance of Imam Mahdi. Aisha quotes the Prophet as saying, يغزو جيش الكعبة يغزو جيش الكعبة فإذا كانوا ببيداء من الأرض يخسف بأولهم وآخرهم. An army will decide to attack Kaaba. When they reach the land of Bayda, the earth would swallow all of them. Jabir says, Imam Baqir said, Jabir quotes Imam Baqir as saying, the commander of the army of Sufyani will be stationed in Al-Bayda. Then a caller from sky, from heaven, will make this call. O Bayda, destroy these people. So the earth would swallow them. 1.6 Consensus about the title of Al-Mahdi. One of the things that all Muslims agree upon with respect to Imam Mahdi is his title, and that is Al-Mahdi, the guided. Ka'b says, إنما سمي المهدي لأنه يهدى لأمر قد خفي. Truly, he is called Al-Mahdi because he would be guided to something which is hidden, or he guides. یهدا باشه، خب با مهدی بیشتر میخوره. یهدی هم گفتن، ولی خب یهدی فکر کنم به مهدی نمیخوره زیاد. Something which is hidden, they said something which is hidden is refers to Torah and Injil, which are hidden and no one knows where they are. اینو در واقع نقل میکنه از کتاب فتن نعیم ابن حماد. It is reported that Abu Sa'id Khurasani said, قلت لأبي عبد الله, I told Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, are al-Mahdi and al-Qa'im the same? He said yes. He said, and then he says, I asked why Mahdi is called Mahdi, why he's called Al-Mahdi. Imam Sadiq said, because he is guided to everything which is hidden. 1.7 Imdad Ilahi, divine support. One of the things that Sunni and Shia have consensus about is a special aid and assistance for him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yeah, Allah's special support for him. These helps are illustrated in hadith in different ways. Abu Huraira reports, quotes the Prophet as saying, the day of judgment would not happen unless you would fight the Jews till the stone would say, the stone behind which a Jew is hiding would say, "Oh Muslim, this is a Jew behind me." این یه مقدار حساسه، فکر کنم این رو ما یه مقدار باید فکر کنم اینو برداریم. مثلا حدیث بعدی باز کافر و مشرک یه خود بهتره. و نظرت شما ببین چیه؟ Abu Basir says from Imam Sadiq, فَإِذَا خَرَجَ الْقَائِمِ, يعني quotes Imam Sadiq as saying, when Al-Qa'im uprises, there would be no one who would deny Allah the Great, nor any mushrik bil imam, anyone who would, حالا باید بگیم reject امام دیگه قاعدتاً، unless would dislike his uprising. To the extent that if a kafir or mushrik is inside a rock, that rock would say, "Oh believer, there is a kafir inside me, break me and kill him." اینم باید خودت باید دقت کنی. دوتا رو شما بنویس و یه علامتی لطفاً بذار که یه فکری براش بکنیم. 1.8 sun rises, یا sun rising from west. Sun rising from west. حالا نمیدونم west باید بگیم یا the west باید بگیم from. باید چک کنیم. One of the things that Sunni and Shia have agreed about, one of the things, one of the events, one of the incidents of the time of the appearance of Imam Mahdi that Sunni and Shia have agreed upon is rise of sun from the west. Abu Hurairah quotes the Prophet as saying, "The day of judgment would not come unless sun rises from the west, from its place of ghurub." From the west. So when sun rises and people see it, means rises, بعد داخل چیز بنویسیم پرانتز یا اکولات که rises from the west, and people see it, all of them believe. This is the time that no one's faith would benefit him or her, benefit them, if they have not believed before or have not acquired goodness through their faith. حالا این از خود آیه قرآن میتونین تیکه آخرش رو لم تکن آمنت من قبل او کسبت فی ایمانها خیرا، یعنی ایمانش مفید نبوده براش، فایده نشه. 1.9 Mahdi is from the progeny, اصلا فرام شاید نخواد, the progeny of Lady Fatima. Another common thing among Sunni and Shia is that Imam Mahdi is from the household of the Prophet and a progeny of Lady Fatima Zahra. Salama quotes the Prophet as saying, Mahdi is from my family, from progeny of Fatima. 1.10 Physical characteristics of Imam Mahdi. Because Imam Mahdi is going to appear after long period of occultation and people didn't know him before, so in the hadith some of his physical characteristics are mentioned, and both Sunni and Shia have mentioned these hadiths in their books. Abu Sa'id Khudri quotes the Prophet as saying, Mahdi is from me. His forehead is visible. His nose is نمیدونم باید چی بگیم، کشیده نوشته بلند و کشیده، یعنی مثلا بگیم لانگ باید بپرسیم اینو. البته خوبش این سننا اینا ترجمه به انگلیسی شده، میشه ازشون استفاده کرد. He will fill the earth with equity and social justice as it is will be filled with oppression and injustice. Abu Wa'il says Imam Ali looked at Imam Hussein and said, and soon Allah will bring out of his sulb, bring from his progeny, a man whose name would be similar to your prophet. Seta nuqte, and he is a man whose forehead is visible. یا حالا اینجا اجلا رو نوشته بلند پیشانی، اونجا قبلا گفت که آشکار و هویدا، و کشیده بینی است. سه تا نقطه. He will fill the earth with justice as it will be filled with oppression and injustice. خب 1:11 abundance of blessings or the abundance of divine bounties in the time of Imam Mahdi. One of the common ideas between Sunni and Shia about Imam Mahdi is that in his time there would be abundance of goods and bounties, and people of that time will benefit, will enjoy. There will be abundance of goods and bounties and goods which people of that time will enjoy. Abu Sa'id Khudri quotes the Prophet as saying, يكون في أمة المهدي إن قصر فسبع وإلا فتسع. يكون في أمتي المهدي يكون في أمتي in my nation there will be Mahdi, that he would at least rule 7 or 9 years at least. Then my nation will be bestowed so much of blessings that they would have never been bestowed like that. Money at that time would be abundant. A man would stand up and say, "O Mahdi, give me," and Imam says, "Take," and he says, "Take." Abd Khair says, I heard Imam Amir al-Mu'minin Ali alayhi salam saying, قال لي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله يا علي الأئمة الراشدون المهتدون المعصومون من ولدك 11 إماما. Messenger of Allah told me, O Ali, Imams which are guided and infallible from your progeny are 11. And you. From your progeny are 11. You are the first of them. که میشه در واقع 1 و 11 12 تا، یعنی بعد یه جوری بگیم که معلوم بشه. You are the first of them and the last of them. His name is my name. His name is similar to my name, or the same as my name. His name is the same as my name. He would uprise and will fill the earth with justice as it is filled with operation in justice. A man goes to him and there's abundance of money, and he would say, "O Mahdi, please give me," and he would say, "Take." 1.12 Allegiance between Rukn and Maqam. One of the common characteristics of Imam Mahdi that we find in Sunni and Shia books is that people will pay allegiance to him next to Holy Kaaba. Ahmad ibn Hanbal quotes the Prophet as saying, people will pay allegiance to a man between Rukn and Maqam. Jabir Ju'fi quotes Imam Baqir as saying, Al-Qa'im will be paid allegiance between Rukn and Maqam. Some 300 people equal to the people of Badr will pay allegiance to Al-Qa'im between Rukn and Maqam. چون اصحاب بدر 313 نفر بودن دیگه. 1.13 Inclusive justice. One of the outstanding characteristics of Imam Mahdi is his just government. Inclusive justice, a universal justice of his governance is mentioned in many hadiths. البته دیگه نگفته ولی قاعدتا منظورش اینه که by Sunni and Shia باید اینو ما اضافه کنیم. by both Sunni and Shia. Abu Sa'id Khudri quotes the Prophet as saying, Mahdi is from me, سه تا نقطه. He will fill the earth with social justice and equity as it is filled with مثلا oppression و injustice. حالا این جورن و ظلمن یه جا پیدا کنیم چه قشنگی براش حالا و قسط و عدل و من الان همش میگم جاستیس و سوشیال چی سوشیال جاستیس اکویتی چه بهتره پیدا کنیم. حالا میشه پیدا کرد. صقر ابن ابی دلف زارن دلف دلف نمیدونم says I heard Imam Mahdi alayhi salam saying truly Imam after me is Hassan my son, and after Hassan his son Al-Qa'im, who will fill the earth with social justice and equity as it is filled with injustice and oppression. 1.14 having the same name as the Prophet. This is also something that Shia and Sunni Hadiths have agreed upon. There's something that we find in both Sunni and Shia Hadiths is that the name of Al-Mahdi is the same as the Prophet. Abdullah quotes the Prophet as saying, this world will not come to an end or will not expire unless a man from my household would rule the Arabs. His name would be similar to my name or be the same as my name. The same better. Hisham ibn Salim reports from narrates from Imam Sadiq and Imam Sadiq from his fathers. Imam Sadiq through his fathers narrate from Messenger of God. Qa'im, Al-Qa'im is from my progeny. His name is the same as my name. His nickname is the same as my nickname. He looks similar to me, and his sunnah, his conduct, is like my sunnah. 2. خب تا اینجا جایی بود که سنی و شیعه با هم دیگه اتفاق نظر داشتن. حالا میره توی در واقع جنبه های اختلافی که اینو میتونیم بذاریم برای یک فرصت دیگری، گرچه البته این کوچیکه ولی خب حالا میذاریم برای یه فرصت دیگری. الحمدلله رب العالمین. رسیدیم به صفحه 87 الحمدلله از صفحه 67.